fast markets and even faster sales. There's a lot going on right now we need to unpack, so stick around for another episode of Card Watch. Buy low, sell high. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thanks for hanging out with me on the channel today. You know, when it comes to cards on the secondary market, there's just so many to go over each and every week. But the ones I'm choosing this week are mainly because a lot of them are coming up for reprint, and other cards could potentially be affected in the next 12 to 24 months. And I want to make you guys aware of some of the implications of buying these cards now versus buying them later. A lot can change depending on the frequency of certain cards being hit, which cards are absorbed more likely into decks, and which ones sit on a store shelf and stores aren't buying them or taking in those copies. Which ones are better to buy right now on a pre-sale, which I very seldom, if ever, do, but we know I hit up that Imperial Seal. I told you guys, I couldn't help myself. When it came to Imperial Seal, I just felt I had to grab it and not take any chances, and a lot of players are feeling the same about a lot of cards right now on these lists. But there are cards behind the scenes that are kind of not being looked at, kind of being forgotten, that you really don't want to forget because they're at historic lows, and it might be the time to gather some up for future trading, for future selling. Remember, buy low, sell high. Sometimes it's not the card right in your face. It's not. It's cards in the backdrop that you don't really think about. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started. You guys will let me know what you think inside the comments section. We're going to let this party roll. Let's get started. Most people are going to think of big bad creatures, but I like to think of creatures that never die, and that is going to be the last troll. Remember, he can't be countered, he can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control, and he regenerates. So a destroy card isn't going to get rid of him because he's just going to come back. I love this idea of a card like that. $4.72. It's very cheap, very affordable, but it's the idea that regeneration is not coming back around. Wizards is not really enjoying the reprinting of this. They kind of enjoyed the shield counters they gave us in Streets of New Copacabana. Isn't that what the Taco King says? Streets of New Cabana. So I look at this card and say, it has value. It has uses, and inside a commander deck, talk about a wall that won't die and can still punch back. Not bad. No real drawbacks to the card, and he's cheap to get out with 2 green generic and 2 other for a 4/4 that nobody can counter. I love this card. And if you're an old school foil, yeah, he was hard to get in foil. That's why his foil is $32.35. A very affordable card for a time like today when we're all thinking about all the cards out there in the land of Magic. Now our next card is, of course, the Oracle of Mul Daya. That's Zendikar, the one I'm showing you today. This card, of course, is plummeting in price right now. It's coming up for reprint. People are noticing it. But when you look at the card, 1 green and 3 generic for a 2/2. But you may play an additional land on each of your turns. Play with the top card of your library revealed. You may play the top card of your library as if it's in your hand, okay? Sorry, if it's a land card, not as if it's in your hand. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. My brain's thinking other things. I'm thinking about tacos and nachos. So when you think of this card, multiple abilities and still a 2/2, not a bad card. And I like the fact this card is plummeting in price, making it more affordable. But depending on how often this card comes up and pulls from packs, it could just tank this price down to $5. So I would not buy it now. I would wait the 90 days to see where this card, where it lands in the end. Where this card, or even the version from Double Masters 2022, where cards like this are going to land. Because some cards will be more affected by a reprint than others. This one is already being affected. Let it be affected. Let it fall if it's a card you want. Pick it up from the ashes and burnt rubble that's left over afterwards. Now our next card, Aether Vial, okay? This one's been reprinted a lot too, and again, it's been going down in price, okay? Its popularity is kind of waxing and waning here. Not a huge thing right now, but they did reprint it. The art does look very nice. But when you look at the average price being $30, by the time this is all done, it's going to be a $10 to $15 card. And Wizards better give it a very long rest if they expect cards like this to start gaining back their value, gaining back their stock price. When you split the stock this much, it is very hard for this kind of card to recuperate. So again, you might want to go for an OG version of this if you can get your hands on it, because with all these cards being sucked down into the abyss on pricing, this card will be affected more heavily than others, and it's a great opportunity to get an OG original. I mean, go for near mint if it's at the right price point, but let it sink. Don't try to save the sinking ship with this card. Just let it fall down. Now our next card is going to be the Divining Top. Again, this card is pretty balanced right now. I'm not sure how often it's going to come up on the track printing of the new set. I won't know until we start seeing a few boxes open. You start, looking at 10, 15, 20 box openings a day and really see what's going on. But this card has a lot of uses. It's very, very fun to play with this card. I've used it in a lot of my vintage and legacy decks. I love it. And when I look at this card, I say, yep, it's going to have future value. It will bounce back quicker than other cards. So yes, it'll sink a little bit in price, but don't wait to try to find the bottom. Buy this card where you think is a good price, where you accept that it may drop further or that if it goes up, you're happy, right? That nice middle ground where you're happy as a player. Because I'm not going to try to find the bottom on this. I need 2 more of them. I'll be looking where I think it's a reasonable price to afford. And in my case, if it's 29 bucks right now, 90 days out, I'm hoping to pay 15 to 20 bucks. That's my personal bridging. And if it doesn't happen, hopefully I crack some. Okay. Pardon me. Force of Negation. Modern Horizons getting a reprint in Double Masters 2022. You can see the price is starting to dip as soon as it was announced. Again, you don't know how the reprint's going to go. We don't know how often it's... Yes, it's rare, but they can make rare like a mythic. They can make it really hard to pull this card. So I'm not sure where this is going to fall, but I'm glad they're reprinting it. I said they should have reprinted it last year, and when they did Modern Horizons 2, it was only in that special slot, the foil etched. It was kind of hard to get. So this is an actual reprint in reprints that hopefully will make it come around a little more often, bring the price down to 40 bucks again, making it more accessible to the player base. For a card like this, though, I have a playset, so I actually don't need any. So if I get some, I'll just be holding it for either trade or for future uses for my Patreon. All right, Mana Drain. I love Mana Drain. I like the old school one, though. That's why I have OG original ones. Some Italian, some English. I know. I couldn't get all English. It was expensive even back then. This card has been coming down in price, but it's been settling out around the $50 mark. Picture this card going down. It's mythic, don't forget. It'll still be hard to get, but it's going to hit around that $40 level. Don't expect a big price break on a card like this. There are a lot of players who will be happy to absorb copies and see what happens to it 2 years from now. I don't expect a reprint after this until around 2024. Now, Dockside Extortionist. This is a card people said should be in my commander deck for my Throwbold, and it's going to be there. It's going to come around because now it's going to be affordable. I'll be able to get a copy of it. And I don't mind, it was $65 for the original. And by the way, I will aim for an original. I'm hoping the original one will come down in price, making it more affordable to get. Although I like the artwork on this one. You guys know I like original artworks better usually. So I'm happy to get this for now. But if it leads me to trading into an OG original one, I'll be so on top of that in a second and adding this card to my deck. And I'm so glad it was reprinted. But like many of you, I really believe this card should have been reprinted in Baldur's Gate Commander Legends. I just think it should have been there. I know. A lot of us were disappointed. This is something they could have thrown into that set to make it have some lasting value. Now, Imperial Seal. We all know that I bought this card on pre. Okay, I pre-ordered it. I paid $2.25 Canadian, taxes and shipping in, and I'm happy with the price I paid. I'm accepting that price. And although it still sucks, I get it. I don't normally do this. I like to see where things fall. With the amount of new cards I've seen, it just makes me think this is going to be a chase card. It's going to be hard to get, and it's going to, it's going to retain value, is my personal belief. If I'm wrong, great. It's out there for everyone, but I'm willing to accept the loss on that if it goes that route. I am totally at peace with it because I wanted this card for a long time, and now I have it, and not a proxy, but a real one. I'm cool with that. All right, Reflecting Pool. This is a buy. Listen to me now. This is a buy. Wait another 30, 40 days, okay? This is a Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate card. I expect it to settle around the $6, $7 mark, and I will start buying some copies up. I expect this card to actually rebound back. I would like to get original OG copies. I know some people on my channel did. Kudos to you guys for doing it. They're beautiful to look at. And if the original copies drift down, I'll get them. I'd like this for my Commander deck and for some future Commander decks I want to build. So I'll grab 2 play sets. When I think it's at its lowest, this is a card that gets a lot of play, and I'm glad it's been reprinted. And it is one of those kind of nice cards to have around, because if they give this card a long break, Commander Legends is going to have a little more bite to it later on. All right, now, this is not just for the Ancient Copper Dragon, although that's the card I put up there. I still do not recommend trading in any of your dragons. I'm saying hold on to them. Hold on for the long haul. We don't know what's going to happen. If this thing starts to dip down, I can't see it dipping far just because there wasn't as much product opened. I'm not expecting reprints of these cards. I just think they've made this one difficult, and it's a hard thing to read. So because when this happens, I tend to be very standoffish and just say, I'm not selling anything. I'm not trading anything in. I'm keeping my cards because I don't know how it's going to play out, and I bought them to enjoy. So I wouldn't recommend selling any of your Ancient Dragons. And if you can find some at a good price, like, what was it, Bad Boy Gaming, congratulations again, man. That was amazing to see you grab all those dragons at the price you got them at. Like, that was amazing, man. Skadoosh! That was really good. Congratulations. Smart buy. Smart buy. Now, Arid Mesa, and not just Arid Mesa, but all fetch lands. We have not seen them out in this set. They're not coming out for Double Masters 2022. So when that doesn't happen, that means we know it's probably another year or two until they come around again. Maybe. They might be giving them a break. We don't know. But expect these cards to start being gobbled up over time. When they're 16, 17 bucks, that's a little low for cards like this. And if they start being eaten up, just like the Triomes, the prices will start to rise. They'll start drifting up. And before you know it, you're back in the $25 territory for an Arid Mesa. And you may have missed out on the opportunity to get it cheap because you thought it was going to stay cheap for longer than it really did. Really, the time to buy is now, whenever you think you need that card. When you hesitate and wait too long, prices can change, things can fluctuate, and you don't have control over what the market's going to do. None of us do. You can't time when to buy these cards. It sucks, but you got to have a budget set aside. You're always putting money in to get the cards you want, to build the decks you want to build, to enjoy the game the way you want to enjoy it. And when I see fetch lands this cheap, and I see what's happening with the Zendikar Rising Expedition lands, they seem too inexpensive when I see them for 30, 40 bucks right now. It just seems too cheap, and it can't stay there. That set's out of print. More Commander decks get built every single day. And people say, oh, it's only $16 for an Arid Mesa, and they go and buy 4 and it's 40 bucks. Yes, there's a lot of stores that have stock right now, but that won't always be the case. So keep that stuff in mind and accept those things as they come along and buy them as you see fit. I'm looking forward to seeing the interesting comments I'm going to get on a video like this to see what you're all thinking out there. So thanks a lot for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Guys, you're awesome. Have an awesome day wherever you are in the world of Magic, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. And of course, guys, a big shout out to all my patrons on the Patreon, as well as all my YouTube membership subscribers. Guys, thanks a lot for that continued support. You make these videos possible. Feel like I'm playing the waiting game to see what's going to happen with some of these cards. I have a good feeling, but I got to wait. Certain ones are going to tank. Others are just going to kind of drift down a bit. All depends how the market absorbs this much. It's going to be insane. Wait, you're all here. You're the special people at the end of the video. Hey, how's it going? I don't know, I'm just hanging out. I'm just chilling like a villain. You know, finishing up a video. Getting ready for another one. Can't help myself. You know, the weekend's coming. A lot of lawn mowing to do with a burnt face, I know. But it was all worth it. Mini Mox did the track and field and did champion, man. It was very cool. Guys, have an awesome day wherever you are in the world of Magic. Keep an eye on the ball on what your goals are in life. It's very important. So is family and friends. Have an awesome day.